All rise.
I want viewers watching my show to believe in themselves.
Judge Hatchett is compelling.
I was not the first one to throw a walk.
Let me just tell you what you just said.
Compassionate.
I really enjoy being a judge. Now I am touching people who I will never know I touched.
She's powerful.
You should have never let them walk out of your life when she was 3.
And she's on the bench.
Don't get me preaching up in here today.
Right.
You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. Beverly and Gabe Jacobson are suing Michael O'Donnell in the amount of $2,000. Mr. Jacobson claims he was bitten by a black widow spider during a stay at Mr. O'Donnell's bed and breakfast and says his wife had to take him to the hospital.
All right, Gabe and Beverly, I understand that you all were on a trip, that you were clients in Michael's bed and breakfast, and that you're claiming some $2,000 in medical damages because you say that you were bitten by a spider. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me, start at the beginning. Tell me what happened.
So it's our 3rd year anniversary, and we're from the LA area, and we decided to, well, I guess we didn't decide. I wanted to surprise her, and so I said, let's go wine tasting in Napa, have a good time. We went wine tasting, and we left early. We thought we were gonna do it all in one day. Went wine tasting, it was really fun. We said, okay, let's walk off some of the wine and go hiking a little bit. And the hiking ended up taking a few hours. It was really fun, but we knew we couldn't make it back home in the same day. So
Yeah, that's a long trip from Napa
Yes.
Valley down
Yes,
back
ma'am.
down to LA.
And also it's the peak season, festivals, wine tasting. Every place was booked up in Napa. So we kept going to the outskirts, and we came across a bed and breakfast. He was rude from the start.
What do you mean he was rude from the start?
Your Honor, I guess he runs the place by himself. He doesn't have to answer to anybody. And it was really a take it or leave it. You want my room? Take it. If
Were
not,
you
leave
rude,
it.
Michael?
No, that's inaccurate. I was happy to have them there. It was 10 o'clock at night. They had been wine tasting. They pulled off because they were tired and a little buzzed. I was happy they were there, and I was impressed. They said it was their 3rd anniversary. That touches me.
All right, so now they're there. You're saying you weren't rude. What happened?
So we arrived at his house, and his house looks like a shack. It's terrible.
So why did you stop?
It was late at night, and we were both tired, so we
drinking.
decided, let's just sleep here for tonight, and so we did. And when we entered the room, there was a spider, and that was an issue from the start.
Wait. So you walk into the room,
Yes.
and there's a spider in the room.
Yes.
They didn't
Your
see
Honor.
the spider
Your Honor,
until
it
an hour
wasn't
later.
just
He can't tell us what we saw, Your Honor. I can tell you what we saw.
You said in your statement it was an hour later.
Your Honor, we were on the bed getting comfortable, and a spider just walks up out of nowhere.
And it was a black widow. It wasn't just any spider.
I wouldn't lie to you, Your Honor. And we tell him that there's a spider in the room. He comes and kills a spider, and then we're like, is there anything you could do for us? Is there an upgrade, a guest house? He says, I have another room for you. But surprise, surprise, it's the exact same room. And we're like, okay, he killed a spider in this room. Why would we go to another room where there's a spider that he's potentially going to need to kill there? So we said, we'll just stay where we are. Forget it. We'll be out in the morning.
So what did you do?
When they complained about the room, normal treatment of a guest in my bed and breakfast, I offered them a different room, and then I also gave them a nice bottle of wine because it was their anniversary.
It wasn't a nice bottle of wine, Your Honor.
No.
It was
The
Napa
cheapest wine you
Valley
could ever imagine.
Cabernet.
It
It
was
was a good wine because it was their
I
anniversary.
should have gave it right back to him, Your Honor. It was cheap.
But you accepted it.
I accepted it.
Yes.
I did.
Yes.
You know, that always kills me when
Napa
people say,
Valley
oh, it was
does not
horrible, but I
make
kept
cheap.
it.
Your Honor, I thought that we could, pour a couple glasses and then before we go to bed, but we end up going to bed,
Right?
wake up in the morning, and they call it a bed and breakfast. They should just drop the breakfast part because it was just bed. Because the breakfast was pretty pathetic.
Awful.
It's one of those where they were actually out of milk, Your Honor, and he wasn't there, to clarify.
They were sleeping it
He
off
was-
and didn't get up until after breakfast had been
We got
served.
in late, Your Honor.
We got up at 10 a.m. to go for breakfast, and the breakfast itself was awful.
Well,
The
it sounds
fruit-
like he says the breakfast was over by that time, but nevertheless,
And all they had left was cereal with no milk, so they said you can use some water. We
the
said,
fruit was dry.
Your Honor, they had some fruit.
There was no syrup
The bananas were
with
old, Your Honor.
pancakes. It was
Like those mushy bananas. It was disgusting.
what time is breakfast?
From 7:30 to 9:30.
Okay, so breakfast was over. All All right, so now we have breakfast is over. You're trying to make breakfast. This is really getting from bad to worse. So what happens with the spider?
Okay, if I can clarify, Your Honor.
Please.
So we turn in our key. We're like, we can't wait to get out of here. And I had a little itch, like an itchy spot on my leg, but I'm like, okay, probably mosquitoes. It was nighttime.
He was complaining the whole way when we were driving
and
home.
I was like, it's probably gonna go away. So we get a few hours down the road by San Jose, and my leg starts swelling. And she's driving, by the way, and I said, you know, honey, I said, my leg is like throbbing, and the swelling just kept growing, and then it turned colors.
Goodness. And so what did you do?
I pulled over, I went to the hospital, and it turns out the doctor cleared that it is a black widow spider that bit him.
How did they know it was a black widow spider that bit him?
They ran some tests, and they recognized the bite pattern.
It was a black widow spider, and I was terrified because I didn't know what was going to happen to him. I mean, could his leg be amputated? I wasn't sure.
Coming up on The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
We say, Michael, as you know, we had a bad experience. We would like our money back, and to his credit, he gave us our money back.
I would hope so.
And offered a coupon for the next day, which I don't think we'll be using.
Nope.
And later,
He used your story, he won, and he said, okay, why don't you come along?
He had given me 3 dates that were possible to go with him. He never told me that he was thinking of taking somebody else.
closed captioning provided by. If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Beverly and Gabe Jacobson, who are suing Michael O'Donnell for medical expenses.
All right, so do you contact Michael?
Yes,
And you
ma'am.
say what?
We say, Michael, as you know, we had a bad experience. We would like our money back, and to his credit, he gave us our money back.
I would hope so.
And offered a coupon for the next day, which I don't think we'll be using.
Nope.
Well, I don't imagine you.
I gave them their money back.
Good.
When they left that day because they were complaining, not because of a spider bite complaint.
Oh, okay. But you said, okay.
They were unsatisfied. I refunded their
Well, that
money.
was a good thing to do. I'm glad to hear that. That is excellent. Now they come back and say, oh, we have this medical bill because of the spider. What was your response?
I am upset that they brought spiders from their hiking,
That's not
from
true,
their
Your Honor.
vineyard experience.
not- Your
No,
They
Honor.
unload
we
their
would have
back
realized
Honor.
it. If there were
Your Honor.
spiders on
Your
us when we were
Honor,
hiking, we would have
I run-
realized it.
I run a good bed and breakfast, and
Good, not great.
Exterminators come in regularly
Like
to
once a
make
year,
sure
great.
there is no problem.
Once a year.
I did not see, the spider I killed was not a black widow spider. I
How
don't
would he
know
know?
when he got bitten by a black widow spider.
So
I
he
have
knows more than
proof
the doctor,
that I
Your Honor.
exterminate my property regularly.
What do you have to show me?
Bills from an exterminator.
Was this before or after their visit?
I get it exterminated each time the season starts every
So
year.
on a regular basis?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Do you feel any responsibility, Michael, for this injury?
My Yelp reviews are good. This is no higher than a bad Yelp review. This should not be a court case.
See, he thinks it's a joke, Your Honor.
I do not think this
tell
is
me
a
how we
joke.
brought in more than one spider. We brought in a whole family of spiders because he killed one.
You don't
and I had
know
a
when
bite.
you were bitten.
Because
I killed
it took
one
time
spider,
to show
we saw
up.
one spider, then you complained about the itching later.
If you see how combative he is right now, you can imagine on that
They're
night
trying to
how rude
accuse
and
me of
disrespectful
something
he
that I
was.
didn't do. They were hiking. They went through caves. They went through vineyards. They went through grapes. They were out with backpacks, and
Your
they
Honor,
brought
Your
a
Honor.
spider into my home.
Your Honor, during the night, we weren't able to see spider webs because his house, the light is dim. But during the
It's
day,
a
the
clean
next
home.
morning, during the day, the
Define
next
clean.
morning, there are spider webs everywhere. It was disgusting.
That is not true.
Clearly, there are spiders everywhere in your house.
I have a housekeeper
Honor.
every day who cleans up after checkout in
Okay.
every room.
Your Honor,
there
can I
was
say-
You
no
don't
I am
have
spider.
not-
any housekeepers at
I am
all.
not only here for
You
me.
came
I'm
at
here
10.
for
Of
anybody
course
that's
the
going to stay at his
housekeeper
bed
was
and
gone.
breakfast.
First of all, I'm going to rule on this case. But a word to the wise. If your first instinct is not good, and I know it was late, but that was not the only bed and breakfast
in the area. It just was not. And when you say, look, it looked like a shack, you also have to be very careful about what decisions you make and where you end up going. You know? Now, let me tell you legally what the problem is with this case, is that he killed a spider. So obviously there were some spiders in the room. There's no question in my mind that there were spiders on the premise, because he said he came up and killed a spider. But also Michael's defense is that, Judge, how do I not know that these spiders did not come in, or that he did not get bitten when he is hiking? That's the problem I have legally on this case. Is it's called causation. Like, what caused the injury in this case?
Spider.
And that is what, exactly, a spider. But the question becomes, when did this occur? When did it occur? Did it occur while you were out hiking in the caves? Did it occur at Michael's bed and breakfast? I mean, that's what the problem is in this case. And so am I going to hold Michael fully responsible for the $2,000? No. I am so glad that you were not out driving and drinking, and I think it was wise to pull over and stay someplace and not try to make that long trip back to LA. But Michael, there was a spider. There was a spider that you killed. It seems that it could be possible, but it could also be possible that he could have been bitten while they were hiking. And therefore, I am going to cut this claim in half. I am going to enter judgment in the amount of $1,000 in favor of this couple, and I just hope that your 4th anniversary will be a lot better. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. Nothing further, will stand adjourned.
Judge Hatchett has ruled in favor of the plaintiffs. The defendant has been ordered to pay $1,000.
I seriously hope that you take care of that spider problem so nobody else gets hurt. But as far as we're concerned, I'm happy with the amount of $1,000, even though I was hoping for the full amount.
My establishment is in great shape. You brought in the spiders.
Coming up.
I kept following up with her. Hey, are you good to go? When can we go? Can you confirm this? But up to the day itself of the deadline, she never confirmed whether she could go or not.
Closed captioning provided by. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. Julia Mars is suing Kent Stone in the amount of $350. Ms. Mars claims Mr. Stone promised her a trip to Vegas, but says he went back on his word, causing her to lose money spent on show tickets.
Julia, I understand from the complaint that you and Kent are colleagues, that you both are journalists, but yet you are in my court suing him.
Yes.
What happened?
So I'm suing Kent because I had bought tickets to a show in Las Vegas, and he had promised he was going to take me on a free trip that he had won.
Okay.
And he ended up taking somebody else.
Oh, all right. So give me the background. How is it that you won these tickets to go to Vegas?
All right, so Your Honor, basically what happened is we were out at a tech conference in Las Vegas, and so one of the vendors had this competition, tell them a personal story related to their brand, and the best story would win a weekend getaway to a luxury hotel in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Simple enough. So as we were passing by, Julia told me a funny story. I was like, hey, Julia, that's excellent. Go tell them your story. But she was too shy. She didn't want to do it. So in the end, instead of losing out on the opportunity, I went back, told the story, and guess what? I won the best story. So I said, hey, Julia, guess what? I used your story, I won. Tell you what, why don't you follow me to this weekend getaway?
That
Fair
seems
enough.
like a fair deal. He used your story, he won, and he said, okay, I've got accommodations for 2 people.
Yes.
At this luxury hotel in Vegas.
Correct.
Why don't you come along? Did you agree that that was okay?
Yes, I was fine with him using my story. I was upset at first, but he had said he was going to take me, and I was like, okay.
Coming up.
I had told him I'm able to go. I had told him I had these tickets for us.
Well, again, for her to confirm the morning of the deadline, it was too late by then.
Closed captioning provided by. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Julia Mars, who is suing Kent Stone for breach of contract.
So you got accommodations for 2 to go to Vegas. So what happened?
So what happened was my boss wasn't in town for about 2 weeks. I was emailing him, trying to move my schedule around so that I could go to the trip with him. He'd given me 3 dates that were possible to go with him. He never told me that he was thinking of taking somebody else.
All right, Kent, what was going on during this period of time?
I kept following up with her. Hey, are you good to go? When can we go? Can you confirm this? But up to the day itself of the deadline, she never confirmed whether she could go or not. So I thought, instead of wasting the tickets, I'll bring my girlfriend instead.
Huh.
Have more fun.
So why are you suing him?
I'm suing him because I had bought tickets to a show in Las Vegas. I had assumed that I was still going to be able to go. The first 2 weeks, I wasn't able to go, so I automatically thought, okay, the 3rd week we're going. I had in
Did you
between
communicate
Yes.
that you were going to go on the 3rd week of one of the 3 dates that he gave you?
We had called and we had talked about it, but there was no
No, she did not
specific-
confirm. She did not confirm. And Your Honor, I actually have text messages
Let
here
me see those.
to prove that up to the day before the deadline itself, that night before, she still had not confirmed whether she could go.
Julia, come on.
In between these texts, he's not showing any of the calls we had of me telling him I'm working things out. I'm talking to my boss, and I'm changing my schedule around for this.
But then the last series in this text message thread says, hey, I really need to know, are you in or are you out? The simple question is, Julia, did you confirm with him that you could go on that 3rd date that you all had talked about?
The morning of the deadline, I did. I had told him I'm able to go. I had told him I had these tickets for us.
Well, again, for her to confirm the morning of the deadline, these companies need time to process the request, process the confirmation. It was too late by then.
Judge Hatchett's verdict when we return. Promotional consideration provided by. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
Julia, this doesn't make sense to me. That you would go out and buy 2 tickets for $350 where you haven't nailed down the specifics of the trip that he won, that he was taking you on. And so at the last minute, he does take his girlfriend, but I don't think that was his intention. I think he did everything in a reasonable manner. I'm looking at this text message chain, and it seems to me that he bent over backwards to try to accommodate you and get you to go with him to Vegas. Now, to then go out and then on the side buy these 2 tickets for the show when we haven't nailed down the trip makes no sense. And I don't think it's reasonable that you now are in my courtroom suing Kent for the $350. And for that reason, your claim is denied. We'll stand adjourned.
Judge Hatchett has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been denied.
Look, I just wish you would have told me that you were thinking of bringing somebody else, but I am sorry.
The judge was right. We're good friends. Let's put this behind us.
This has been a production of Entertainment Studios.